they look at this and go, man, I tried this funnel. I tried this. I tried that. It didn't work. They blame the funnel, right? Now go back and look at your messaging. You don't even believe in your own offer. Why would someone else buy it from you? Everything that you've been through in life has prepared you for the moment you're in now. And all the feelings that follow from back then happen to you now. So when you fix one of them, all of a sudden the now becomes a little bit better.
Hey guys, do you want to increase your business's cash flow, make an impact in the world, and run a purpose-driven business? Well, guess what? You're in for a treat today. Our guest truly believes that you can have everything you want in your business and in your life with the right mindset, strategy, attitude, and the right amount of action. Welcome to the show, Brandon Hintz.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here. I know people are going to want to check you out on your website and social media, so I want to bring that to them right away. They can go to brandonhintz.com, and it's spelled Brandon, Hintz.com. I got that clickable in the show notes. There's a little giveaway if you go to brandonhintz.com/success. That will be in the show notes, clickable, so we can get you guys that information right away. So let's dive in, brother. Here's the deal. Looking at your website, checking you out on social, we had a conversation previous to this. There's a lot that goes into your story that I want to unpack in the time we have together. But really what I want personally to know about, kind of selfishly, is that moment when you decided, hey, I'm going to actually do this as a career, because you had this background where, you're kind of building yourself up as a businessman, but then you change it to just doing well for yourself, but doing well for others. When did that shift happen, that mindset that you're going to help people out and that's going to be what you're known for, your legacy?
That's actually a great question. And somebody actually, one of the trainers I'm working out with likes to talk a lot while we're working out. And he started asking me the same thing. And he's like, what made you shift that one time to just drop this industry and dive in over here, not knowing what could happen? And I said, I just kept manifesting it. And I knew that it filled me up. It literally filled me up more than the money I was making in the current industry, that I was sad. I wasn't happy with how I was going about it. And I was good at it.
Right. What was the industry you were coming from?
So I did a lot of mortgage training for mortgage loan officers. And then I also had an ad agency that did all the marketing for insurance, chiropractors, any kind of service-based business. And I had 8-figure clients, 9-figure clients, and we were killing it. But I was building these Ferraris for this person that was like, I want this. And then it just sat there. And then me, as the creator, I was sad about it. I was like, man, we built this Ferrari that you don't even drive. I know you have 4 other ones, but let's get this one out on the street. And it wasn't fulfilling. And then there was always this complaining about, I want more, but then they weren't even using what they had.
Right. I can relate to that. I think a lot of people anyone tuning in that's in a coach or client relationship where you're literally either building something, it could be web design, podcasts, it could be coaching them through their business, and you provide something and it's not getting utilized. It's not like I want them to use my product or service. It's like they're not using what can help them get there. It's really a tough thing to be in position to be in.
Yeah, the one thing they said they wanted, right?
Yeah. So how do you get them to finally take the Ferrari out for a spin?
So what I would do is I would have what I call the discovery calls in the beginning, and I'd say, hey, I want you to commit. If my company accepts you as a client, that means you got to put in the work when we're done. And they're like, oh, all in. So then when I would say, hey, it's time to turn the car on, they knew that was coming. And what really started getting me to switch is I started coaching other business coaches right away. And I was looking at the platform saying, you know what, these are some successful coaches. They're doing 5 figures by themselves. Just putting the right foundations in place could easily get them to 6 figures. And I tried a couple of them out. And I did one pro bono with a coach who was charging $500 a session, barely getting clients. I would see them at all these events, all these networking, and I'm like, why don't you come meet with me next Friday? I love you. I think your heart is beautiful. I want you to help more people. So she showed up at my office and said, if you do this for me, I will make you proud. I will take the actions like you talk about in your meetings, and I will go for it. And she came in and she did it. And she started coaching State Farm and life insurance agents. And her business coaching was really just barely getting where she needed to be. So after putting her through a little bit of foundation work and getting the pieces that she needed, she exploded. And next thing she knows, she's working for Aflac, State Farm, all the life insurance places, training their agents how to go to that next level. And her excitement brought tears to my eyes. Like literally coming to my office, how excited she was. She's about to put her husband into retirement. She was like, he's going to retire 5 years earlier now. And I'm just so excited. And I'm like, this is my calling. Yeah. This is what I should be doing.
What do you feel are some of the doors that you need to unlock for people? Is there, now that you've been working with a number of clients and you've been highly successful, I know sometimes when you do things for long enough, you run into some more problems. It's, still very much customized working with your clients, but are there doors that seem to be barriers for people that we can talk about to kind of help out a larger group in our audience today, that you need to open those doors?
So no matter who you are as a coach, you will face imposter syndrome. And until you know that I am the expertise of my own experience, nobody else's. You can go and model as many coaches as you want, but you will run into imposter syndrome because it wasn't your model, right? So the faster you get down to the heart of who you are and what your gift is, the faster you help people break through those walls. So it doesn't really, like when you said Brandon believes you could have anything that you want. Well, what do you want?
Right.
And then you got to ask yourself one more step above that. What will having that do for me, right? As a coach, what will having this type of success, helping this type of client do for me? And when you have that, it's almost like manifesting that client into your existence. You're putting those words out there and saying, I work with this person and I help them with this. And when you do that, you become more fulfilled. You make a bigger impact. And with impact comes income. So when you get past that imposter syndrome and own your message, this is what I do, this is who I help, all of a sudden things just start unfolding for you. And my wife's like, well, I pray for the things into my life and they come. And I said, well, that's manifesting too. And you're manifesting that, you're speaking it into existence. When you start identifying, and I always use this analogy, there's this really cool car that just came out, right? And you see it and you're like, that's a beautiful car. I've never seen that before. And then you pull up to the next stoplight and there's two more, a red one and a blue one. You're like, there's that same car.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see it because your conscious mind is now paying attention. Your subconscious mind is on the lookout for it. So when you put that client out there into existence and you have that message and you have that heartfelt impact ready to be just given away to these people, they show up for you.
It's like the magic potion, right? It doesn't exist, but what it is breaks down, and I'm going back to the notes here. Talk about mindset, strategy, attitude, action, right? Those kind of the four things that are like prerequisites. And then what you're talking about has come up on the show multiple times, and I've studied it, is the RAS, Reticular Activating System, I believe is what that stands for. And that's the C in the car that you just thought about, this new model car that you're scoping out, and then all of a sudden you see them all over the place because your brain starts solving for it. And I love that when you wire your brain to solve for positive things, for forward-moving items, for things that are going to serve you and not hold you back, then all of a sudden your body and it's not just you're thinking about it, but like the emotions that come with it, the feelings that come with it start to follow, and the actions come with it too. And I think that's really well said on your part as far as all the prerequisite things that go into it before you can get to those. But you got to be thinking bigger, right? Like not just here. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. These are my goals. Why are you doing it? And how are you going to feel? I like how you asked that question. How do you feel when you're going to achieve those things?
Yeah, the more that you feel it, right? Everything that happens to us right now. If I said something rude to you, it wouldn't be the comment that I said. It's the way it made you feel, right? If I said something nice to you, it'd be how it made you feel. So when your body starts feeling that as a coach, and you know that your message is speaking right to the right person that you want to work with, then they're hearing you, you're hearing them, the right message, the right marketing, love, right?
Yeah.
You nailed it earlier. It's always in acronyms. And one of my colleagues pointed out, he's like, you have the M.O.M method of momentum. And I said, what? And he goes, you work on the message, the offer, then the marketing. That's your M.O.M method that gives them momentum. And I was like, I love it, bro. Give me a little release of that. I'm going to sign it and take your little acronym from here on out.
Yeah.
You need help? Call your mom.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Hey, man, whatever it takes to remember things too. That's how we remember things, right? I know in music, you're learning the notes. Every good boy does fine, right? FACE,
Yeah.
face, right? So there's all these different acronyms to help us remember it.
That's funny you brought that up because my daughter practices piano and she's always using that little teacher. I'm like, what was that acronym you just said?
Let's talk a little bit more about you too. I want to pick your brain for a minute. So what are, because a lot of the people tuning in are startup entrepreneurs or they've been in the game for a while, really anyone in between. So it's quite a span of audience, which is cool. But a lot of them are kind of similar to you, or maybe they're where you were 5-10 years ago, getting into the business. Talk about what you actually do on a day-to-day basis that makes you operate at your optimal performance level. So what are you doing to make that happen?
Well, it's funny because a friend of mine is part of the Think and
Put
Grow
you on the
Rich
spot.
movement.
No pressure.
So he sent me this Think and Grow Rich planner. And every week I have my little core planners that I use, but mainly I keep my daily action sheet. So my daily method of operation. And things have gotten a little different as I've escalated to a higher level as a coach than what they used to be, but I use the same powerful routines. What's my priority? What am I knocking out on a daily basis? But without the vision, none of it really lays out right. So for me, I need to
you're
understand.
a guy who likes to write things down, right? I'm that way too. My notebooks have chicken scratch all up and down.
I have a new sheet every day. So this is this morning. And at the end of yesterday, around 6:30 when I logged off, I just fill out the new sheet of what I want priorities for the next day. And then it fills itself as it goes through the day. But really what I'm looking for is I'm trying to avoid shiny object syndrome, seeing cool things out there. I don't want to be a builder. As a coach, I want to coach people. And a lot of us get stuck in, oh, that's cool, I should build that and then go launch it. And then I'll build that and then go launch it. And then I want that. And then they're just constantly looking around at all the new stuff that's coming out. When really it's just getting your message in front of the right people and helping them. And whether you're building your own audience or you're tapping into other audiences, you have to hone in on the people that you want to help, and then they'll raise their hand for help. It's just the way it goes.
So it's super important then for someone who's a coach or really just any business to niche down into, we call it the client avatar. And, most people have heard of that. But so having this specific avatar, right, before you can do any marketing, before you can really do your first sales pitch, you got to specifically know who you're serving and how you serve them at a high level. Otherwise, you kind of get in. One of my mistakes early on in business, I was trying to help everybody. And it's like when you try to help everybody, you end up helping nobody.
Yeah. The master of all is the master of none, right?
So elaborate on that. Like how does someone niche down like you're talking about here?
Well, this is funny because the kit that I just gave you inside this little link that you have, who do you want to be known by? When someone says Brandon, oh, he's the coach's coach, or he's the business coach, right? Those are the two things I want associated with me. That's the breakthrough coach, Brandon. So that's what I'm known for. I'm known by these entrepreneurs who want to coach and make an impact. And I want to be known for breaking through all the resistance that's standing in their way of their success. So I look at those two, and if you can answer that, you're 10 steps ahead of all other coaches. If you know who you want to be known for, who's the avatar, it doesn't matter if it's men going through depression after divorce or women who specialize in yoga and teach Reiki. It doesn't matter who your client is. You need to identify who you want to be known by. Then, what do you want them to know you for? What is your gift that you want people to talk about? Think about your Aunt Margaret at the Thanksgiving table going, so what does Brandon do nowadays? Oh, he's a business coach. And she's like, oh, I know what that is.
Yes. Yeah, what your kind of identity is, right?
Yeah, and when you do that,
your known identity,
it helps you hone in your expertise too.
I like that analogy. Like, how would your family describe you who hasn't seen you in 5 years at the Thanksgiving Day table? Hey, what's Brandon up to? What's the answer? Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
and if it takes your
that's your
mom
identity.
15 minutes to explain it, you haven't told your mom enough about you.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that. It's like when I started the business, my parents were very confused on what social media marketing was all about and that whole thing. But yeah, now we're focused on podcasting. I had to explain that all over again. Absolutely love it. Hey, I usually don't do the kind of infomercial thing, but I'm ready to do this for you because I believe in you. Guys, the link that we have, I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. It's brandonhintz.com/success. I mentioned at the top of the show. And what this is here, it's how to solidify the foundation of your online coaching business so that you can easily scale to 6 figures and beyond. And he's going to help you do that in the next 12 weeks. And what I like is it's without complicated funnels, Facebook ads, or a low ticket membership site. So he's got something up his sleeve there for you. I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
There's always something up the sleeve, right? That free gift. Here you go.
Yeah. But it's value, right? It's give, 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 give. So where did you get your influence to have, we talked about mindset a lot. Where did that come from? Is it a family member who you kind of looked up to when you were a youngster? Where did that influence come from?
No, actually, I was kind of from a broken home, broken childhood, and my influence always came from within. But there was a lot of modeling, right? I would see things that I wanted, and I would ask myself, do you want to aim for that? And I'd be like, I want to aim for that. That's what I want right there. And I just go for it, right? But where it really shifted from me, I had hired a mentor because I'm a firm believer if you want to go somewhere, you go get somebody to hire that has been there, right? You don't go hire the attorney that's never showed up in court. You don't go hire the marketing guy who's never run ads before. You go hire a coach that's teaching you how to go down the path they've been down.
Right. Yeah, you got to look at their success and go, wait a minute, has this person even done what they're trying to help me to do? For sure.
Exactly. And one of my mentors I hired out of Australia, which was a very weird communication barrier for me at first, plus the time zone difference. I was getting up at 6 a.m. to meet with him. He recommended a school out of Marin, California called NLP Marin, where I went and studied mindset shifts. And it turned out that I had actually registered to go break myself a bunch of times and fix myself. And that's how they taught you how to do it for other people. And it got addictive, right? Where you started writing down, like, I want to fix this. Let's go to the next session. Let's do this, people. And when I started deep diving into that, I realized that there was a breakdown in my coaching there where I was teaching and teaching and teaching, but not removing the roadblock. So they got the knowledge, but they couldn't use it yet because the roadblock was still in their way. So as soon as they got their messaging down and owned it, the roadblocks disappeared. So I started setting the positioning up to remove the roadblock as the training was happening. And that's what shifted it all for me. That's what took me to the next level as a coach. And I 100% Michelle Masters, Carl Baquette, best teachers ever, world renowned. And I spent 3 years deep diving with them, just going all the way through to holographic NLP. And every step of the way, my coaching practice grew because I was removing my own roadblocks. Because, even the landscaper has tall weeds in the yard, right?
Yeah. Dude, that's so good. I don't want to run past that too far. Making sure you identify that one item, that area that needs attention, that's kind of like blinking, needs help. And a lot of times people just coach or stack on top of it. You see it like if you want to use a sports analogy, the weakness, you're only as strong as your weakest link kind of comes to mind when I think of this. And like, if you have a hole in your offensive line, but you just keep getting the fastest wide receivers and the biggest guys who catch the ball and the best quarterback who can throw it 80 yards, but you have a hole in your offensive line, he's going to be eating the ball all day long, and you're going to have a hard time moving down the field, even though you think you got it all stacked up. And I think of that in a personal situation when I was going through some meetings and counseling, and when I've been married and divorced. I was married for almost 7 years, got divorced in 2017. And I remember going to these meetings, we'd always talk about everything from the surface and on top and not digging deep into the root. And so whether it's a business, a personal thing you need to fix, you got to go get that root, right?
Yeah, and it was a 2-hour drive back each weekend, so I'd stay down there for the weekend. And I'd literally drive home sometimes with tears in my eyes, like, whoa, man, whoa. But they teach you that you have to know that you can recover from it, right? Everything that you've been through in life has prepared you for the moment you're in now. And all the feelings that follow from back then happen to you now. So when you fix one of them, all of a sudden the now becomes a little bit better. And it became addictive. Like my wife would come home and be like, you all right? And I'm like, yeah, it was so great, but I'm exhausted. I would just go to sleep. And I would literally go to bed at like 8 o'clock at night and sleep till 7 a.m. the next morning, which is not normal for me. I'm usually like 11 p.m. to 6. But it was good to remove those blocks, 100%.
Yeah. Well, your body needed it. Your body tells us a lot if we listen to it, right? So you needed that recovery. I just want to get into so much more of your story and kind of see, what we can do to help the audience who's tuned in. First of all, thank you guys for being with us on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. You guys can do that by clicking and turn those notifications on. And of course, if you're listening in on Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever platform you're on, thank you for being with us today. We're just going to take a quick 2-minute timeout. We will be right back with Brandon. Podcasting is a great way to engage with your audience and stay consistently relevant. The only problem is you don't have the time or desire to produce your own show. You simply want it done for you. And that's where Social Chameleon comes in. All you need to do is press record and upload the files. We'll handle the rest. From planning, production, post-production, distribution, and digital marketing, we have you covered. We realize that times are tough and funds are tight. And Social Chameleon believes in building supportive business relationships. By clicking on the link in this promo, we'll provide you 7 free podcasting tips to get started, as well as a free 30-minute online consultation. This is the perfect opportunity for entrepreneurs, keynote speakers, industry experts, influencers, and anybody who has a personal brand. With Social Chameleon, we help you build a brand that is out of this world. We're ready and waiting. So what are you waiting for? Click on the link to get started today. Hey guys, it's Mike. I'd like to give a proper shout out to Navigator Bookkeeping. Look, for a long time, I ran my business without really understanding the full financial picture. I used my gut and my bank account balance to make decisions, which led to some poor choices and constant stress over my business's finances. I knew something needed to change. At the beginning of 2021, I made a decision that helped pave a more clear path for my business. I started working with Navigator Bookkeeping. Since then, my bookkeeping has been handled for me. I now understand the full financial story of my business, making important financial decisions much easier now, and it helps me plan for where my business is going. I highly recommend giving Navigator Bookkeeping an opportunity to help your business. Check them out at navigatingyourbooks.com. Again, that's navigatingyourbooks.com. It's time to know the full financial story of your business. All right, guys, we're back in action with Brandon Hintz. And again, you can connect with him on social media. I made all those links clickable in the show notes, his website as well. Again, that special offer he has for you is brandonhintz.com/success. And it's spelled HINTZ. Brandon, welcome back. We were just talking a little bit about your backstory and some of the personal development things that you did for yourself first, so then you can help others. That's super important, obviously. We also talked about, if you hire a coach, you want to look back at their track of success and make sure they've done those things. And kind of the last thought you had that I love, and I wanted to kind of pause and hit and pick it back up, is that things happen for us, not to us. And when you think of it that way, it really unlocks your mindset. I talked about going through a divorce, right? It took me a while to realize that is horrible and how much hurt and things that have come from that. I realize, I can turn it now and say like, okay, those experiences happened, and I can either sulk and sit there and lay on the mat all day long, or I can pick myself up and say, what did I learn from this life experience that can make me better going forward, right? So can you talk about some of the other times in your life where you've reflected back and realized, hey, this is just pretty devastating, but how can I have this rewired so it happened for me?
Yeah, and one of the big key things for me, and I always said this since I was little, if I was ever to put a tattoo on my body, it would say fall down 7, stand up 8. Yeah. Whether it was in Chinese, Japanese, whatever it was in, but that would be the one thing I would live by, right? Because I know that motto to be true. And as a breakthrough coach, you can't just have one breakthrough in life, right? There's more. There's always more for you. There's always that next step. It's never too late. I have a client who's 72 that just crossed over his first million.
That's
72.
amazing. Yeah.
And he's been with me for a year now, and he finally just broke through that level from going from $150,000 coach to over $1 million at 72.
Freaking determined, man. I love it. I just, one of my latest clients is actually 80 years old, and he just launched a podcast. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I just get juiced up. Like,
dude,
you're never
so
too old.
Never
too old.
I remember my father-in-law saying to me, "You've had a lot of successes, and these last couple failures you had, it may have been your shot." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to do it again." And I listened to this podcast the other day where one of the comedians, the guy, you're a redneck, was on there. Mm-hmm. And he said, "You know what the biggest lessons I'm teaching my kids right now? How to fail."
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, he's dead on.
Fail
because
forward.
You can fail
it's not just
and
catchy.
come back out of it, right? All the stories you hear out there, the phoenix rising from the ashes, all these stories are because somebody put the boots back on, right? You fall off the horse, you get back on the horse. You realize what you did wrong. And that's what I see with a lot of the coaches that come across my plate. Doesn't matter if they're a yoga coach or a spiritual coach or a divorce coach. They look at this and go, "Man, I tried this funnel. I tried this. I tried that. It didn't work." They blame the funnel, right? Now go back and look at your messaging. You don't even believe in your own offer. Why would someone else buy it from you? You're giving it away and you're showing up 7 days a week. Why am I going to hire you if you're giving me all of this free training? Mm-hmm. Why do I pull the trigger? And most of it's just Band-Aids. So you keep Band-Aiding them so they go somewhere else to get more. Instead of just giving them the real meat and potatoes and saying, "Hire me and we'll do this together."
Make a difference up front. Mic drop moment right there, ladies and gentlemen. Go back and listen to Brandon again. If you don't believe in your own offer, why should somebody else believe in you? That's a tough reality, but I think there's a lot of people listening who are going, "Shit, I got to go back to the drawing board here."
Yeah, and when I was raising my price, when I was very first going into coaching, my coach said, "Hey, you spent, $12,000 to hire me. I want you to hire one more person after this." And I was like, "You're referring me off to someone else?" He goes, "No, you're going to pay me again. You're going to go to my next level next. But you're also going to hire another coach and pay him 10 grand. And I remember writing the check to this coach going, "I don't know how I'm going to make payroll on Monday, but I'm hiring this person. This person has walked up and down the mountain that I've been climbing, and I'm going with them." And he was from Australia here for a little 3-day webinar that I didn't even want to go to. And I sat there and he was just smacking me in the forehead. And I'm like, this is the guy I need. But he said, until you start buying other people's courses and get that momentum working, right? Once again, the universe aligning things. And it started happening. I started attending master classes, started attending challenges. And guess what? My masterclass audience went up. My challenges went up a lot higher. All of a sudden, it's just like the movement made the action take place.
So true. Yeah, you need that extra challenge. It's what wakes you up. It's what gives you life. It gives you excitement and energy. And a highly competitive person that's a strong coach that's not just looking to grow to make more money, but really does believe in what they're doing, isn't going to want to continue to always play small ball. And I don't mean that from a financial standpoint. I just mean if you get kind of too comfortable, your creativity starts to take a hit. And then when your creativity takes a hit, all of a sudden your impact and everything that comes with it. So like you hiring a coach that you're wondering, "I don't even know if I can afford this right now," is allowing you to then change your mindset and say, "I'm not paying 10 grand. This 10 grand investment can be what unlocks me to 100 grand or the next 500 grand, right?" And what things I learned. So that's when someone's hiring you, I want them, or hiring myself or whatever they're looking to invest in. It's not the, every book I got over here, I got plenty of books, and this is the one right now, literally the one that I got nearest to me. No, this is actually Gary Keller. A lot of people have been talking about this book, so I finally got it, and it's next on my to do. But what I'm talking about is, I don't know, the book. I actually got this as a gift, but usually a book's $20. it's not a $20 investment. It's the next $1 million idea, right? So, again, really well said on your part. Let's talk to the group of people tuning in right now that are on that fence. And it's not talking about an investment in themselves at the moment. A little bit it kind of is, but more so like they want to get away from something they're stuck in and get uncomfortable and go after it. It doesn't mean they have to be like corporate to entrepreneurship, but whatever it might be. They're stuck and they need to rise out of it. What are some things that they can do to take immediate action?
And I'm going to keep it very simple for you because this is what I know works. For every coach I've ever coached with, I've asked these two questions in redundancy for at least 5 minutes. What do you want? And when you really lay that out, the first sentence, right? Then what will having that do for me? And then lay that sentence out. I want to serve more people with my product so that they can change their lives. Okay, what will happen if you do that? What will having that, that's a key word, what will having that do for you? And when you write that down, then go yourself, okay, so what do I really want? And then rewrite that sentence again. Because now it's going to lock into the subconscious, which is the critter brain, keeping you from having this. It's saying, hey, we may not survive that. So you got to ask yourself those two questions until you get it all the way down to the one that feels right. I want to do this so that I could have this in my life. And when you have those two down, you will feel it. Your subconscious mind will start to allow you to have it. It's the truth. When you know what you want, you've got to tell your subconscious mind to let me have this. And even if you just say to them like, hey, we can always go back to the old way. But right now, this is what I want to try for in life. And I need your help, right? Because every part of your body, guess who they work for?
Yeah.
They work for us.
Yeah. Who's
they are the
controlling
same
it?
ones
But not a lot of people.
right?
A lot of people don't live that way, though. A lot of people let their environment dictate what they're doing on a day to day, instead of being the conductor of the orchestra themselves, right?
Yeah, and how many times have you protected yourself from the one thing you should have done because we may not survive that one?
Yeah.
But you will. You will survive it. Even if you crash a few times and skin your knee, you will stand back up and you will go back to work. And I've had more failed businesses than I do successful ones now, for sure. I've had companies bankrupt. I've had big multi-million-dollar companies I worked for was their CEO melt. It happens in life. And guess what? I went to my attorney and he said, so now what? And I was like, I don't know, man. We're gonna have to fire. He's like, then what? And I'm like, we're gonna fire some people. We're gonna have this bill. He's like, then what? And I'm like, ready to strangle him. I'm like, what do you mean? And then what? He's like, and then what are you gonna do? And he goes, go back, get out of my office and go back to work. And I was like, that's the advice you give me at $600 an hour? That's what you give me? He's like, I'm not your therapist. Go back to work. You want to get ahead in life? Go back to work. Go do what you love. And I was like, I love doing this. Okay, then go do it again. And I was like, oh my God, he's totally right. Here I am, the coach, and my attorney is shifting my mindset.
I work with a coach myself, and a lot of times we do 1 hour sessions together, and sometimes it'll be like 50 minutes in, and he's like, we can go all the way 60 minutes here, but like a lot of times he could feel the energy, like I just got hit in the face with something and I just want to start running with it. He's like, do you want to get a head start for 10 minutes? And sometimes we'll end early and I'll just start taking action right away because it's like you want to get in that Ferrari that's you realize is built and sitting there in the driveway, and you're like, I don't want to waste another minute until I can go do it.
He goes, hey, did you know that you have the key in your pocket? And you're like, oh
right
man,
there,
I do have the key.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lot of times people make decisions based on fear, and that's actually a conversation we had because I was having a moment that he had to slap me out of last week because I got something big coming up next March, and I'm kind of like excited, but got that fear. It's the fear of the unknown thing. And he's like, dude, I remember when I was like a teenager hanging out with all my buddies, and we went to this popular theme park. I don't know if it was Cedar Point or whatever, but it was like roller coaster crazy. And he's like, I'd never been on a big coaster or even a coaster at that point in my life. And I was just scared. He goes, I was the one holding everybody's bags. You know, they're getting in line. They're going on the rides from ride to ride. And I'm holding all their stuff that they can't bring on the coaster. And finally I said, damn it, I'm going to go on because look, they just went on 5 and all, 12 people that he's with all came back alive each time. He's like, I know I'm going to come back alive. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be exhilarating. I'm going to be scared. but I know I'm going to be alive at the end. So why am I not doing it? And that example can be really for anything, for starting that business, right? You could have failures and crash and burn, but you look at the people that, I personally strive to be similar to or be inspired by, and they crash and burned way more than the average person has even thought of an idea. They've done it and
Yeah.
crash and burn 10,000 times with Thomas Edison, the light bulb, before that thing turned on. 10,000 swing and misses before it turned on. So,
And you know what's awesome about what you just said? One little story shifted your subconscious mind to allow you to survive that ride, and you went on it.
yeah.
That's the one little shift. It's just a little story, right? It's just a shift that happens. And everyone always thinks like, oh, there's these broken things and I can't do. It's probably just one shift that needs to move.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one shift that goes to the next level. And I've heard so many stories like the golf trainer with Tony Robbins, right? And the coach is laughing and he goes, well, just what are you laughing about? And he goes, okay, you're so close. Just move your foot to the left a little bit and all of a sudden, right down the drive. And it's that much, right? It's just that one little thing he said to you that made you take that action.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It is true. A lot of times the course correction is not that much.
No, it's not. Yeah, I can tell you right now through thousands of coaches that I've helped build businesses with, they already know what to do. It's like shelf knowledge, right? They have the knowledge, it's just sitting back there. And like my mentor said to me, knowledge is knowing something and then leveraging it. And when you know something that you know it needs to be done, this is how I'm going to be successful, but something's blocking you, it's just one shift to remove that block. And in every scenario, it's a little bit of a foundation, but then the courage to take the step to drive the car. And when that happens, people are raving and they're like, thank you. So my wife used to ask me, like, why are people crying in the testimonials all the time? Because they already had all the stuff. Everybody listening right now, you have every single resource you need to be successful. There's just something stopping you from using it. It's just shelf knowledge. You've done the master classes, you've done the challenges, you've downloaded 7,000 PDFs. Go use one of them. One thing to win. Just take that action and follow all the way through on it, and you will go to the level you want to be at.
Brandon dropping more mic drop moments on the show. I'm going to have a hard time. We're going to have a hell of a time editing this down to a promo. And you actually just gave me a really good idea. I usually do not go with clickbait titles for episodes. It's pretty straightforward. Like, someone's talking about financial stuff. It's, really clear in the description of what we're talking about. But I think for your show, I think I'm going to say taking the Ferrari out for a drive.
Yeah.
With Brandon Hintz. And people are going to go, what the hell is that about? Like, but what, you know what I mean?
He's too big for a Ferrari. He doesn't even fit in the driver's seat.
but this message is something that anyone who clicks on that can benefit from, because I don't care who you are or what you're doing. What you just said there applies to everybody about, getting outside of your comfort zone and then doing something with the ammo that's, I believe in God, so I'm going to call it God-given ammo that we have that's just sitting on a shelf. Right. And that's all about being the best version of ourselves. I know we're running a little short on time here, so I'd love to pick your brain on one more thing. Yeah. So we talked about reading books, and now we're going to talk about being an author for a second, but we're going to talk about it kind of the hyperbole of it, if you will. So you're the author and protagonist in your own life story, and you get to write the ending. God willing, you continue to live a long and prosperous life. You're looking back on it, you're reflecting on it, and you get to define your legacy. What would that be?
If I'm defining my legacy, this has actually been a good one, because during the NLP trainings, I kept saying I want to leave a legacy for my children, right? Mm-hmm. And this is a weird one. This is going to throw you for a little bit of a loop. One of the things that I had a grandmother, my mom's mom, who passed of cancer when I was probably around 10. And my mom was staying with her, so I was living with her at the time. And she would get up every morning and she would make me these little burritos. And every Thanksgiving, spaghetti. And this last couple of years, I really started making my daughter these little breakfast burritos and these bean and cheese burritos, just like grandma used to do. And the last 4 or 5 Thanksgivings, big pots of spaghetti, because our Italian family, like she was a full-blooded German woman with an Italian husband making spaghetti every year. And I asked her one year, like, why do you make spaghetti at Thanksgiving? She said, because all the children will eat it. All the children will eat it. They're not going to eat the turkey. They're not going to eat the ham. They're going to eat my spaghetti, and they love my spaghetti. And I started doing it. So when you ask about the legacy I want to leave behind, I want to leave behind my children with faith in the higher power, faith in what they want in their life can come true. And I want them to know that it's the small moments, right? That spaghetti and that bean burrito, I will remember the rest of my life. And when I'm on my deathbed, I want my kids to know those were the things. I was the dad that drove everywhere. I drive my kids to school every morning. I pick them up. I block out time for my own life. I don't take interviews except for you today before 11 a.m.
I appreciate that.
I don't do that stuff because I need that legacy to be my family, right? And I need my coaches to know that when I was breaking records, doing $40 million a month in the industry, I got to work at 6 a.m. and got off at 2 p.m. and I was on the lake in the boat because I wanted my life. I didn't want to sacrifice everything else. So my legacy would be that my family always came first and I always provided for them, but I built little small habits into their lives that they're going to remember forever. The breakfasts, the lunch. My wife makes lunch for all 3 kids every single day, and most of them come back home with them, but she still keeps doing it, and they'll remember that forever.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. This has been one of my favorite conversations I've ever had, recorded or unrecorded. I always say, be great and be grateful. That's how I wrap the show up. And I am grateful for you being here, but also grateful for the wisdom that you brought, because you've got me thinking about things that I already knew on the shelf that I need to take and apply. And I love these conversations. I know I'm going to be driving in 3 months from now. Sometimes I go back and check episodes, not to hear myself at all, but to remember awesome mic drop moments on the show. And that right there, what I just learned from your grandma in that story is that she provided a meal that people wanted, and that's what's big, like whether it's entertainment, whether it's business, if you're going to get on a stage and speak, are you trying to serve turkey to people who don't all want it? Or are you gonna serve up the best freaking pasta that you can, and everyone's gonna leave there with a full belly and loving life, and you're the hero? And I think that's great. A lot of people try to serve turkey, if you will, in this analogy, and they're not really understanding their audience. Wow, grandma was a smart, beautiful woman and a great cook. Man, this has been awesome. Is there anything you want to drop in the last 2 minutes? Anything you want to get on the show that we haven't talked about yet?
This is the thing you want to reinforce right now. That all of you out there, if you're aiming for something, you truly want it, and you've asked yourself the question, what do I want? And it's truly what you want, you have everything you need right now. There's no doubt about it. You have all the resources God gave you. Everything that you have right now is what you need to be successful. But there is always that blockage. You just got to release it. And that's what takes people to the next level when you identify it. Like literally make a list and say, I suck at this. I can't keep having this happen in my life. And then find a way to remove it. Start talking about it. Forgive yourself for it. All the things that you need to do. You've read all the books. You've taken all the classes. You know what needs to be done. Just take the action. You have everything you need to be successful right now. You already are successful. But if you want more success, then go get it. Period.
Bam. Brandon, this has been amazing, man. You over-delivered. Today. This is awesome. Be great. Be grateful. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with our audience. I know I'm going to get a lot of inboxes with this one, and a lot of people going to be connecting with you from this. So thank you again for your time today.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to give a huge shout out to everyone for tuning in, especially those who listen all the way to the end to hear this message. Seriously, I appreciate you, and my guests do as well. Giving a quick reminder to subscribe to this show. It's completely free and will allow you to receive notifications when new episodes are released. If you'd like to provide a tip as a gift, you can do so via patreon.com/mikedup. It's spelled MIKED up. Patreon.com/mikedup. You can give as little as $1 per month or as much as you'd like. Every dollar is greatly appreciated and completely unexpected. Appreciate your reviews and your messages coming in on social as well. Keep them coming. Your feedback is valuable and absolutely means the world to me. You can check out more episodes and content at mikeduppodcast.com. We're powered by Social Chameleon. You can also follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active, and it's at Mike DiCioccio, MIKEDICIOCCIO. Thank you so much for your continued support. You guys know what to do. Be great and be grateful.